Hi all, today we're going to do our equilibrium straw lab. So hopefully you have that handout that has some data on there for you. We're going to take a look at the data table at the bottom of the page, and we're going to be doing experiment number 1. So what we're going to do is I'm basically just going to show you what you would do. So this graduated cylinder here is going to represent the reactants. And this graduated cylinder is going to represent the product. So we're going reactants to products, right? So reactants on the left, products on the right. And we're going to start in experiment number 1, which starts with 10 milliliters in the reactant cylinder. So I have some green water in that reactant cylinder. So we have lots of reactants to start. And we're going to assume that we have no product, so 0 milliliters in the product cylinder here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to start transferring between the two graduated cylinders. So I have 2 straws. One straw is fatter than the other straw. So hopefully you can see that, and I move it a little bit closer. Hopefully you see one straw is fatter. That's this one here. This one here is fatter. And this one over here on my right is the thinner straw. So because they have different diameters, something interesting kind of happens. So in this lab for experiment 1, you can choose to put the fatter straw here, or you could put the fatter straw here. My data has the fatter straw here in the reactant cylinder. So please circle that reactant cylinder, circle the fatter for that one. And then the thinner one, I'm going to put in the product one. So you can circle thinner for the product cylinder. We're just doing the first experiment over on the left-hand side. So what we do is it's an analogy for equilibrium. So it's an analogy for a chemical reaction, but obviously we're just transferring water. So what you want to think about is our reactants right now have a really high height of 10, and we have 0 height for the products. So I'm going to put in my straws into each cylinder. Now you have to push them down all the way down to the bottom, and then you put your fingers over top. And then you basically pull out however much water can be pulled out with the straws. So obviously my fatter straw has lots of water, and this one, the thinner straw, has nothing in it. So I'm going to take my fatter straw, and from here, and I'm going to transfer all that water into that graduated cylinder here. Now this one didn't have any water, but I'm pretending to transfer. And then I put my straws back where they were before. So the fatter straw is still going to go over here, and the thinner straw is still going to go over here. But before I do that, I'm going to look at my volumes in each cylinder. This one I have around about 7 milliliters, and this one I have about 3.5 over here. Okay, and so now I'm going to transfer again. So it's like 7.5 and 3.5, 7.5. 3.5. So now I'm going to transfer again. So I put my straws same place they were before. Fatter is still in the reactants, and the thinner is in the products. So now when I grab water, I have stuff to transfer for both. So that's the fatter one going in what we were going to call the forward direction, and the thinner straw is the reverse direction. And then we're going to read, and I might have, right now I think I have about 5 and 5. And so now I'm going to do it again. Straws go in the same place, and then you transfer. There. Transfer there. And now I've got about 4.5 and 6. Put the straws back in. We're going to transfer again. And I've got about 4 and 6. I'm going to do it again. And I've got about 4 here and 6 over here. I'm going to do it again. And I've got about 4 and 6. I'm going to do it again. And I have about 4 and 6. So do you notice something's happening? I'm getting about 4 and 6. Right? And of course, there's a little bit of, error just because I lose a few drops. But the idea is that even though I keep transferring, I'm still getting 4 a height of 4 here and 6 here. So that's kind of what your data is telling you. You can see the reactant one pretty much ends at like 4, and then the product one is around 6, 6.5, 6. Okay, so 4 and 6. All right, so now let's do the experiment 2. You would do the same thing, but now you would transfer, put all the liquid back into one cylinder, but this time I want to start with my products having all of the 10, a height of 10, and my reactants having 0. And I'm going to keep my straws the same place. So still the reactants is fatter and the products is still thinner. So the only thing I did is that now I'm starting with everything over here in the products. And you would do the same exact thing, right? You would do the same exact thing, and you can see the data that we get, and you keep transferring, and eventually we should get 4 over here again and 6 over in the products. To do it a couple more times, I'm not quite there yet. So once you get there, it should stay 4 and 6, even though I keep transferring. So I keep transferring, but I'm still at 4 and 6. Now notice, it becomes constant when it's at 4 and 6. It doesn't become constant at 5 and 5, right? So you want to figure out why that is. So it's staying constant. I keep transferring. It's still 4 and 6. That's it for the video. We'll talk about why.